says exit here, then we put up a big chain. People to exit through there. Okay, figure it out. What do we got here? Okay. Okay. Road Beer Co. Okay, Prairie Cake. No, yeah, we work with them a million times. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we've seen Krista and John and
Hey, Dennis.
there's are we doing?
It's on the agenda. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was.
All the way to P.
So yeah, it's a lot of letters this morning.
That's true. It's not double letters is always a bad thing.
He's busy talking to Dave. Dennis, you look spaced out. You are? Oh. It's up to you. You're the chair.
All right. Good morning. This is the Tuesday, September 27th meeting of the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. My name is Deb Shore, serving as chair this year. To my left, Vice Chair Christy Yoakum and Commissioner Rick Vest. And to my right, Commissioner Roma Amundson, and we'll be joined by Commissioner Flowerday. If you'd please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, if you'd begin the agenda, please.
Copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to discuss today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on September 20th, 2022.
Full approval?
Second?
All right, motion and a second to approve. Call the roll, please.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next are claims. Approval of all claims processed through September 27th, 2022. This needs to be amended to include the payroll ending on September 21st, 2022.
I move approval of the claims through September 27th, including the amendment of the payroll through September 21st.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is approval of claims to the Clyde Malone Community Center in the amount of $585 and $6,705.60.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, a motion and second to approve the claim payable to the Clyde Malone Center. Call the roll, please.
Yocum,
Abstain, as my husband's on the board.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 3 yes, 1 abstention. Next is approval of claims to Central D. Las Americas in the amount of $9,289.03 and $64.14.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion and second to approve the claim to El Centro. Call the roll, please.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Abstain, as I serve on their board.
Best,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 3 yes, 1 abstention. Next are consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items approval of amendments to the following county contracts. C-20-64 with Operation Veterans Encouraging Recovery to provide transitional housing for Lancaster County Veterans Treatment Court participants. C-17-893 with Ray O'Haron Company, Inc. for corrections uniform accessories. C-20-77 with Unipro Food Service, Inc., the multi-unit group and Cashwa Distributing Company for food products and distribution with related equipment, supplies, and services. C-19-717 with Yana Trucking and Excavating for annual service of motor grader snow removal services. C-19-718 with K2 Construction for the annual service of motor grader snow removal services. Right-of-way contracts with the following: Dayton, L. and Sharon Lehman, south 134th Street, and Pine Lake Road in the amount of $180. Melvin A. Peterson, Revocable Trust, north 176th Street and Branch Oak Road, in a total amount of $1,622. Mylan H. and Margene M. Schweitzer, Northwest 84th Street and West Bluff Road, in the amount of $631. Utility permit number 2279, allowing Lincoln Electric System to install new power poles in various locations throughout the county. Change order number one to county contract C-22-451 with Mount Farm Drainage LLC due to a plan revision for structure Y342. Grant contract with Family Violence Council for the Coordinated Response to Reducing Domestic Violence Program, funded by the Violence Against Women Act in the amount of $11,270. Amendment to grant contract C-21-587 with Lighthouse Inc. for Strength Finder Program. Setting of a public hearing on Thursday, October 13th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. in room 112, the County City Building, regarding the 1- and 6-year road and bridge improvement program.
Move approval of the consent items?
Second?
All right, motion and second to approve the consent items. Call the roll, please.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 4, old business. This is a resolution, a matter of amending Article 1, Section 6 of the Lincoln Lancaster County Air Pollution Control Program Regulations and Standards.
I move to reconsider the vote on the motion to adopt County Resolution R-22-0083 in the matter of amending Article 1, Section 6 of the Lincoln Lancaster County Air Pollution Control Program Regulations and Standards.
I would second that motion. I can second it, right? Yeah, I would
Yes,
second
you
that
can
motion.
second.
There is a motion and a second to reconsider the action we took last week regarding this item. Call the roll, please.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
A motion to reconsider the resolution R22-0083 has passed. Should we consider the resolution now?
I move to postpone the vote on the resolution R22-0083 until November 29th, 2022.
Can I offer a friendly amendment to that? I'm sorry, this is not. I was just having some discussion with health department staff. The difference between 60 days, 60-day delay and a 45-day delay is substantive to them. I'm fine with a 45-day delay. I think that would serve all of our purposes too, so.
Okay.
Is that acceptable by everyone? Not sure what date then we should say.
How about the meeting immediately after the 45?
Right.
Okay, I would like to amend that, to change that motion.
Withdraw.
I'll withdraw that motion.
And second's withdrawn as well.
Yeah.
And I would like to make a motion to postpone until the nearest date of a board meeting following, at 45 days, following 45 days.
Second.
Right.
Okay. Motion and a second to postpone until the first board meeting following the 45-day limit. Call the roll, please.
Vest?
Yes, I want to say that sometimes issues arise that draw the board's attention, and we need more time to develop a better understanding of what the decision is, and I think that's appropriate in this case. I vote yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Yocum?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 5. This is public hearing setting the final tax request at a different amount than the prior year tax request for Lancaster County and the rural library for Lancaster County. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. All right, good morning. Dennis Meyer, Lancaster County Budget and Fiscal Director. Today, this hearing is really kind of wrapping up the budget process for the year. Just to kind of remind everybody, we held our budget hearing back on August 23rd. We adopted the budget that day. The law was changed this year as far as what needs to happen next. We held a joint public hearing last Thursday. Lancaster County was not required to be a participant in that, but we are still required to go through this hearing to set our final property tax request. The reason we weren't part of that joint public hearing last year is through the calculation, what our calculation said is if the property tax request was less than 4.13%, then all we got to do is this public hearing, adopt that tax request, get it to the clerk so that you got, your group will be setting levies within the next few weeks. So that's kind of where we're at today. So this resolution that will be approved today is just saying, hey, last year's tax dollars and rates was this. We're going to move them to this, and then we've got a few other items that we need to talk about. So let me just hit up a couple of these items to remind everybody. Property tax dollars for Lancaster County this year are increasing by 2.72%. That's why we didn't meet the 4.13%. So tax levy will actually be dropping by 1.2%. On the rural library side, somewhat the same thing. Rural library dollars are dropping by 1.65%. Levy is also dropping by about 1.3%. A couple other items that need to be noted at the hearing is property valuations this year for the county increased by 4.01%. For the rural library, it was at 2.98%. Now, the tax rate, one of the items we need to include in this resolution is what would have the levies have been if the tax dollars stayed the same based on this New Year's valuation. So last year our levy was 26.4076 cents. We're dropping it to 26.0814 cents. If the tax dollars would have stayed the same, the levy would have dropped to 25.3907. On the rural library side, it was 1.582 cents last year. It's dropping to 1.5616. If the tax dollars would have stayed the same, it would have dropped to 1.5362. Last item I need to mention is, in this resolution, we also have to note what the increase in the total operating budget is percentage-wise, and that levy, or that percentage, is 11.98%. Now, I'll remind you, at our budget hearing, we talked about that 11.98% and what kind of drove that. Today, what we're really focusing on, what's happening with tax dollars, tax levies, things like that. So once the resolution will get approved, that will be moved over to the county clerk's office, and we'll start the process of getting levies ready to be set by the county board.
Any questions for Dennis?
Question / comment, but Dennis will say this better than I can. The 11.98 increase in operating budget is due to the presence of a significant amount of ARPA funding.
Right. I mean, kind of the four main things we have talked about this year is ARPA dollars. In our general fund, we talked about a couple union contracts. We talked about medical costs increasing, and we talked about court-appointed counsel rates being increased by the judges. So those are kind of everything that's driving that. But the main factor is no doubt ARPA. When you start throwing the dollar amounts in there, it's going to increase your budget. But when you compare it to a 2.72% increase in tax dollars, that's the difference.
There are ARPA and CARES, in fact? I think it's
There is a little bit of CARES Act money in there too. So
general, yeah.
yes, yep.
I get asked about the 12% occasionally when I'm talking
Right.
to citizens, and I'm going, well, that reflects one-time spending.
Yes, because, what I'd always tell people is, the adoption of the budget is setting up our spending authority. Not only tax dollars, but also just overall spending authority. So everything that really gets paid out through the fiscal year has to be within that spending authority. And that's why we monitor this process as we go throughout the year, because we know we can't overspend that.
Right.
And so when you have additional money coming in, you've got to also bump the spending authority to allow for you to spend it.
Well, and it naturally feels so sort of unusual to people because ARPA, CARES, everything that's happened from all the federal money we've seen pouring down. This is a once in a generation investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course people aren't used to seeing it this way.
Right.
It isn't usually this way. It's very, very unusual that we have this.
Last year was kind of the first year that we kind of hit it. We got this year. We've it will slowly start decreasing, but these first couple of years are kind of our big ones.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
Do you want to just briefly summarize, even though the county board was not participating, of the public hearing last week?
Right. So, so the joint public hearing is a new step in the process, and we had 4 political subdivisions that participated in there: City of Hickman, Waverly Public School, Raymond Central Public Schools, and Southeast Community College. So, at that public hearing, it was kind of the same type of thing. Everybody, each of those 4 had to give a presentation, and a lot of it was kind of talking about some of the stuff we've talked about today. Just kind of what was happening with their tax dollars and stuff like that. And then from there, then it was just open to public testimony. And so we probably had, I'm going to say about 20 people that got up and testified at that public hearing. So at this point in time, it's in the letter of the law, so every year we will look at allowable growth percentages and make the determination who has to attend. The thing that's a little bit different is everybody's allowable growth is a different percentage. We can't just say, hey, ours is 4.13%. LPS's is different. City of Lincoln's different. It's all it's all based off of allowable growth, but everybody's got a little bit different allowable growth. So it's tough to just draw one line because it kind of fluctuates for everybody.
I talked to a lot of folks. I got the postcard and it said change in taxes 0, but I still got the postcards.
So what happened on that, Rick, was, we sent out about 114,000 postcards, and about 94 of them went to City of Lincoln residents that their valuation did not change.
94,000.
94,000, yes, sorry. And with Southeast Community College keeping the levy the same, it would show same valuation times the same levy gives the same tax dollars. So it's that was I don't know if it's misleading, but it's confusing. It just kind of confuses the issue.
And that mailing was still required to the people whose valuation didn't change. So if we're looking at alterations in the law coming up, that could be something that we could change if you
Right.
aren't spending the time and energy and the confusion factor when
money.
there really isn't any benefit.
Yeah.
So just a thought.
And just for further clarification, isn't it true that, every, in terms of the subject, within that allowable growth, you're talking at various levels of commercial and residential and farmland?
Yeah, it is, and that's all a piece of it. So that's why everybody kind of has a different calculation. But that was also part of the new deal. The new valuation, or the valuations that the county assessor's office sent out this year, had to include some additional numbers and percentages and stuff like that as we prepared for this first go around. And for the first go around, there's no doubt, as you go through the process for the first time, hopefully you live and learn some things, and hopefully across the state, we'll kind of, figure out maybe what maybe makes a little more sense and how it can just even help us as we go through the process. So we'll just, I like to try to tell everybody we just try to keep getting better every year. So that's another one we'll try to keep getting better on.
Any other questions for Dennis? All right, thank you.
You bet.
Is there anyone else wishing to testify on this public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Clerk, new business item 6A, please.
This is a resolution in the matter of setting the 2022-23 property tax request for Lancaster County and the rural library for Lancaster County at a different amount than that of the prior year.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. B is a resolution to direct the county treasurer to issue tax sale certificates to the county of Lancaster upon all parcels of real estate upon which there are delinquent taxes and which were not sold for want of bidders at the last annual tax sale.
Move approval?
Yeah. Second.
Good. Motion and a second. Any comments? No? Okay. Call the roll, please.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is a resolution authorizing the installation of traffic intersection warning signs at South 134th Street and Princeton Road.
Good morning.
Good morning. Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. So we did receive a request from a citizen to study the intersection of Princeton Road and South 134th Street. And we did determine that it met the warrants for the Manual of Uniform Traffic Design, or traffic devices, to install cross-road warning signs on 134th, both on the north and south side.
Roma?
Yeah, and I would like to express my appreciation for your listening to the constituent. Had received several calls on this, so we do appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I do move approval.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Just real quickly on that item, is there, I know I've asked this before. Is there any way we could give the engineer a blanket approval on signs? Like, I'm never gonna argue with the engineer's office about where they wanna put a sign, right? Like, that's not my, it seems ridiculous that you have to come and ask permission to put a crossroads sign up.
I do appreciate that, Commissioner Flowerday. However, when you do look at the rules,
Okay, all right.
we are required to bring forward our engineering opinion to you and have it approved. It is something that engineers and commissioners all over the country do argue about on occasion, and hopefully that never happens, but it could happen, and it's more likely to happen when we have an engineering recommendation not to put a sign up.
Sure.
And so I think it's really important that we let constituents know that these signs, or as we like to call them, devices, are installed per the regulations and with an engineering recommendation. You might not always like your engineering recommendations, and the commissioners, of course, are very aware of that. Nevertheless, we make the recommendation.
Appreciate it, thanks.
6D is a resolution in the matter of designating Asplin Cemetery located at Northeast 84th Street and Agnew Road, Lancaster County, Nebraska, as an abandoned or neglected pioneer cemetery.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Johnson. I live in Wahoo, Nebraska. I'm a in-law to the families that started this cemetery. Currently, I'm mayor of Wahoo, and I served on the general committee in the legislature, so I'm a little bit familiar with cemeteries. We had to go back into a lot of family records in order to accomplish what we're trying to do today. We found this hand-typed letter, and I'll just read part of that. It's the history of the Nora Asplin Cemetery and the legal description. This cemetery was started in 1878 when Peter Asplin and his wife deeded to the Nora Cemetery Association 1 acre in the Section 11, Township 12, Range 7, East 6 of Rock Creek Precinct, Lancaster County, to be used as a burial ground for the people in the community. Part of these records, and I can give you a copy of this when I get, you need it for your record. In this, we found the records of 52 people listed on this piece of paper that were buried there. The first one happened to be my wife's great-grandparents. Their name was Knutsen. They came from Norway, and that burial was in 1875. The last burial of a family member was in 1961. There's a marker there at the cemetery that's the one like the mortuary puts on a grave right after. That's the only marking. We can't find it in the record that it is even family, but it could be a married person from that family. So, but that's the last burial that was there.
You said 1967, is that right?
Pardon?
65.
1961.
61.
So I believe it does meet the criteria of a pioneer cemetery and inactive. It hasn't been totally abandoned. Part of it has been mowed, probably 1/10 of the acre has been mowed, and my wife and I have been responsible for that. But we thought it was probably time. I'm 80 years old. We got to turn it somewhere. So we are asking for this resolution for the Lancaster County to consider. So thank you.
Questions for Mr. Johnson? Or-
Thank you for being here, Mayor. We appreciate it, and thank you for bringing this to our attention. You know, we've been working with Brett on this, and he's giving us an education about the process. He's very helpful in that regard. But first of all, thank you for continuing to maintain it up to this point and then calling our attention to it so we can do the right thing.
Now, in the process, we did find note of a, gotta find it, Taylor Cemetery. And I finally found, or in this here, there's a designation of the, it's in a different section. I don't know what's there. We can look at them if there's something there, which would have been, because Mrs. Asplin was moved from the Taylor Cemetery to the Asplin Cemetery. So it had a family history before that, but I'll keep looking.
Well, thank you for your research. You're leaving
No
that
problem.
behind for, future generations.
Yes.
I would move approval.
Second.
Okay. Do you have any comments, Brent?
Can we get a copy of that?
As long as I don't talk about weeds today, right? So, and we are more than happy to take over maintenance of the cemetery. I think it does qualify. Just for the record, we already maintain 6 cemeteries in the county. The County Poor Farm, Highland Cemetery, Uphoff, Jordan, Dietz, and Evangelical. So this would just be a 7th cemetery that we maintain, and we've got folks that mow these. The law requires us to mow them once before Memorial Day. I assure you, I will work to find somebody that will do a better maintenance job than just once before Memorial Day. So, we will keep it up, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. There's possibly more of those out there, but they do need to be maintained, and this is one that falls into the category of a pioneer cemetery, and we will properly sign the cemetery. That's part of what we have to do, so it'll be recognized there.
All right, well,
There's a sign in there, and that's a picture of Bigfoot. I don't know where that came from.
interesting
Norway, yeah.
deviation.
No. No, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Call the roll, please.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. E is a resolution in the matter of approving an interlocal cooperation agreement with local rural fire districts to obtain a radio communication needs assessment.
Glad we're finally getting to this.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion is second to approve the resolution. Call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. F is an interlocal cooperation agreement with local rural fire districts to obtain radio communication needs assessments using American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funds. Funding shall not exceed $100,000, including any necessary legal fees.
Move approval.
Second.
All right. Motion is second. I'm glad that we can assist these 21 fire districts with this complicated plan that hopefully will end in new radios that allow them to communicate efficiently and effectively with 911 and LPD and LFR. So, Mr. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. D is an interlocal agreements with the following school districts for the provision of a school resource officer by the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office for the term of August 1st, 2022 to July 31st, 2025. This includes Malcolm School District number 148, North School District number 160, Raymond Central School District numbers 161, and Waverly School District number 145.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is the same contract that we have signed for several years now. There are a couple exceptions. One of them is we went from 2.5% to a 3% for the next year's amount that will grow with that, because that's what the deputies will be getting.
Oh, the salary increase.
On the salary,
Okay.
sorry. And we will also be doing our overtime like we do UNL. So we will put in, the deputy will work it, put in the overtime slip at LSO. We will pay them, and then we will invoice the schools for that. And it makes it a lot more clean when deputies aren't running around trying to find checks and doing that. We've talked to the schools already on that, and they like the idea. So those are the big changes that we have at this point in time. So
Okay.
other than that, there's nothing.
Okay, is there,
Great program. Glad we're doing it.
is there a motion?
Move approval?
Second.
All right, motion is second to approve. Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. H is an interlocal agreement with the City of Lincoln for the city and county to grant American Rescue Plan Act funds to local nonprofit tourism organizations who have suffered economic harm as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Those announcements were made a couple weeks ago that entities that will benefit. And call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 6I is a special designated license application from Cold Beer LLC for an event at Prairie Creek Inn, 2400 South 148th Street, Walton, Nebraska, on October 14, 2022.
Move approval.
Second?
Right. Motion and a second to approve the SDL. Call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. J are contracts granting American Rescue Plan Act funds to the following organizations: Camp Creek Antique Machinery and Threshing Association, Inc., in the amount of $25,000. Lincoln Children's Zoo in the amount of $642,000.
And here are some of those entities benefiting from the nonprofit tourism funds.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
I will vote yes, and I just want to say this is kind of the conclusion of a process that the city of Lincoln allowed the county board to join into. Really exciting to be supporting these tourism facilities within our county. You know, Lincoln Calling was last weekend. Just adds to the quality of life to have facilities like Camp Creek Threshers and the Lincoln Children's Zoo and so many others. It makes Lincoln and Lancaster County a really special place to be. So I vote yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. K is a grant contract to reimburse Lincoln Calling for promotional costs from Visitors Promotion Fund in an amount not to exceed $5,000.
I move approval.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. L is an agreement with Baylor Evnan PC to provide professional legal services to Lancaster County.
Move approval.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second to approve the agreement with Baylor Evnan. Call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 6M is reappointment of Susan Tatum to the Keno Human Services Advisory Board for the 3-year term commencing January 1st, 2023, and ending December 31st, 2025.
I move approval.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second to approve Susan's reappointment, and we thank her for her volunteer service. She's already served 3 years and signing up for 3 more. So, call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6N is to be held. O are documents related to binding of insurance coverage for Lancaster County. This includes client authorization to bind general liability and excess workers' compensation coverage and policyholder disclosure notice of terrorism insurance coverage.
Move approval.
A second.
Motion and a second to approve the binding insurance coverage. Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. P is Lancaster County non-discrimination and interconnection policies.
Good morning, Michaela.
So this policy was needed for the middle mile. NTIA required it, so we obtained it. Dave and has looked at it, and our outside counsels looked at it, and Abby's looked at it, and they've all reviewed and approved. It's just interconnection, non-discrimination policy, so that we'll have open internet for all when we do the broadband, and if we get the middle mile.
I would move approval.
Second.
All right, motion is second to approve non-discrimination and interconnection policies. Call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business, not on the agenda, may do so at this time.
All right. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment? Seeing no one, if you'd continue with the announcements, please.
The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, September 29th, 2022, in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, October 4th, 2022, beginning at 9:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will be conducting a strategic planning session with Barry Dunn on Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 at 11 a.m. at the County Attorney's Conference Room, 575 South 10th Street, Room A225 in Lincoln. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV, the City Government Access Channel. Link TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV, YouTube, and Facebook. In addition, Link TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion and second to adjourn. Call the roll, please.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Bess,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.